Tony Cesarino, good morning.
Bonjour.
First question, what's your best memory with Marseille?
There's lots of them. I think the flight coming into Marseille. When I was landing at Marignane Airport, I remember going out to the sea and coming back in and seeing the stadium as I came into the airport. I remember thinking, I'll be playing here for 2 years, and was really excited about playing for Marseille. And it's a very historic stadium in many ways. And I'd seen Chris Waddle play at Marseille in England, and when he was playing Magic Chris, I watched Chris play for Marseille, and it was a club that was one of the greats of Europe, with a lot of myths around it, you know, where legendary stories, and a little bit like Napoli in Italy, and I experienced a lot of that with Marseille.
What's your worst memory with Marseille?
Leaving Marseille would be easy, because Gérard Gilly was the entraîneur at the time. I had a knee operation in the summer of 96, 96. I didn't start the season very well. I wasn't in very good condition with my knee. Gérard decided not to play me, but he didn't want me to leave either, to go to another club. And luckily for me, the president at the time said, OK, I'll let you go, because I didn't want to be a substitute. I didn't want to not play for Marseille. I had 2.5 fantastic years in Marseille, and I didn't want to go. I didn't ask to go, but I had no choice. I left Marseille in December on the terrace, eating a meal in flip-flops, claquettes, on the balcony. And I drove to Nancy in my shorts and claquettes, and arrived in Nancy, and there was snow. I had to get out of the car in my shorts and my flip-flops, and changed. And I realised, remember thinking, what have I done? What have I done leaving Marseille? But it proved it was okay. It was okay, but it was a tough thing to take at that time.
Who is the teammate you were the most friend with?
I was lucky. I had lots of good relationships with the Marseille players. Marcel Dib, Michel de Wolf, Jean-Philippe Durand, Nino Ferrer, Jean-Marc Ferry, Bruno Cazzani, Christophe Marquet, and many, many more. We had an amazing atmosphere, and they were really good to me. Marcel didn't speak very much English, but he always made me laugh, because he would laugh. In my first training session with Marseille, when I joined, Marcel passed me the ball, and I tried to control it, and I miscontrolled it, and it hit me in the face. And I remember Marcel looking at me thinking, who have we signed here? And just a great relationship with lots of people at the football club.
Who is the teammate you would like to play again with?
Well, I'd definitely say Marcel Dib, but I think I'd miss Nino Ferrer's crossing, and also Jean-Marc Ferry's crossing. Christophe Marquet, incredible right foot. Partez was there as the goalkeeper. It was a crazy time, because obviously Marseille winning the Champions League in '93, and I joined in '94. But we had a lot of players who had experienced the history of Marseille and been part of the Champions League. You know, I liked them as people, and to play football with them was great fun. But they were also players who had joined Marseille to save the club. This was the idea. They were very experienced, but they gave everything for the football club. And we stereotype footballers sometimes is they don't care. That group really did care a lot about playing for Marseille.
Who's the strongest teammate you had in Marseille? The best?
Well, Marcel was physical. He kicked everybody, but was technically good. Bernard Cazzani was a strong defender. Hernandez is also a stopper, a centre-half. We had a bit of everything. You know, when you play top-level football, generally players have good technical qualities, great physical qualities, and also mentality, great mentality. And that team had that, even though we were playing in the twilight of our career, at the end of our career. I don't want to say one particular person, because it was very much a team, which I loved being in.
Who was the funniest teammate?
Christophe Marquet used to make me laugh, because we used to play Belote, and I always used to say 93, and then he'd say Song Carol. So we would play Bellot or Carroll. Yeah, it was, that was good fun. Jean-Marc Ferry was always funny because he liked a wine, and he liked to celebrate when he won. He liked to celebrate with some great French wine, and he always used to make me laugh because he'd say I'd always had beer. He said we drink wine. But yeah, good fun.
Who was the toughest teammate at the training?
Probably me. I was quite tough I liked to play football in a physical way, and I liked combat, and I liked challenges and crossing and heading. So yeah, I probably would say I like to be quite physical in training.
Who was the coach who had the most impact on you?
Oh, tough question. Well, I would have gone probably Tappy, and he wasn't the coach. Because I only had Bernard Tappy for 1 year, and a lot happened in that year. And he famously once said about he'd sacked so many coaches, and he said, well, I've not sacked a coach because I'm the coach. And he sort of was. I think he made a big impression on me. Gérard Gilly was difficult because he was fantastic with me for about 1.5 years, and then when I recovered from an injury, I lived very close to him, so in Saint-Anne, in Marseille, and it was always, the final year was difficult, and that was part of the reason why I left Marseille.
Who is the strongest player you play against?
I remember playing against Laurent Blanc, and Laurent Blanc was fantastic technically, very composed, and that was his biggest quality. He didn't get intimidated by centre forwards. And
you liked to intimidate your defender?
I tried to, yes. Not in a bad way, but put pressure. You know, football, there's a lot of pressure in football. You're trying to get the better of your opponent, the guy that's trying to stop you scoring. I like to do that, yeah. It's a very Roy Keane type of way of playing, if you like. Patrick Vieira, Roy Keane, when they played, they played off each other. I used to enjoy that.
Do you remember the biggest anger of a coach?
I think when we lost to Sion. We lost to Sion in the European Trophy, UEFA Cup, and everyone was really upset because we lost in the velodrome. I can remember that night and seeing the coach get angry because we shouldn't have lost. We should have had enough to have beaten them, and we didn't. We made big mistakes that night.
Do you remember the match you felt unbeatable?
Well, there's two, but Olympiacos, when I scored 2 and we won 3-1 at the velodrome. But my favourite game is a friendly because we played Juventus in a friendly. We won 2-0 and I scored both. And Jürgen Kohler, who was a centre-half for Germany, I'd played against him just before the World Cup of '94. He said to me afterwards, you're not the same player I played against in Germany. We won 2-0 in Germany. Ireland won 2-0 and I scored, but I wasn't in the same physical condition as what I was in Marseille. I was much better in Marseille, and I played against him, and he said, I didn't reckon you were just incredible athletically, physically, and that was a big compliment because he was a really big player.
And do you remember your worst game?
Probably Sion, because I missed a great chance in that game, and I thought we could go really deep into the competition. That was painful. Losing to PSG once was not nice. We lost 2-0 in a cup. I think it was the Coupe de Ligue. And in Paris, it was my first time of playing against PSG when they had Jouer, Rai, David Ginola, Roche. They had a good side, but we lost 2-0. And that was because I realised what it meant to Marseille fans to try and beat PSG. So that was painful.
Is there a game you would like to play again, this game, to change the final result?
Yeah, the Sion game. I've mentioned it a few times, but I'd love to play that because I think 9 times out of 10 we beat them. And I'd love to play that game again because I don't think I could miss the chance I had. I had a really easy chance in the game. I think I'd convert it this time.
And do you have an anecdote, something funny you have never told before?
I did telefoot when I first come to Marseille, and I didn't know what I was going to be doing. They just said they wanted an interview, and I'd been in Marseille probably about 2.5, 3 weeks. And they turned up and they dressed me as a clown, un clown, and they put the nose on me, and they gave me words to say in French because I knew zero French at the time. And I spoke in French with a clown with the wig and the nose as a player. And I remember seeing the video on Téléfoot afterwards and thinking, what did you do? Why did you do that? And it was funny to do, but everybody, what would you say for mock? What would you say for mock, Wills? Mocky? Everybody mocked me, mocky. Yeah, that was a real embarrassment to do Téléfoot, be here 3 weeks, have a clown's wig on with the big nose, and do an interview about football. I would probably want to change that and not want to do that again.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Et le centre, oh, le deuxième but de Tony Cascarino. Retrouvez Cascarino. Un but. Deuxième but pour l'OM.
En plein beau, Cascarino, 2 fois, but.